Hello, it's Philip Taylor speaking from Richmond Green Chambers, and I'm looking at a book today which came in from Inner Temple and Dr. Johnson's House Trust. It's a series of lectures from the late Tom Bingham, Lord Bingham. It's Dr. Johnson and the Law. That's a picture of the front. It's Dr. Johnson's staircase at the back, for those interested. There's a nice little map of old London as was, which is actually in the side part of the book. There's some nice pictures. Dr. Johnson's house there. It's about 50 pages long. It's a series of lectures, and I think it's a lovely little book because it can be taken on a number of levels, really. There's a Flickr review here, and what my wife Elizabeth and I have said in this review is we've given it the title Enlightening the Mind and Touching the Heart, because that's what it does. It's a slender volume, 50 pages, happily committing to print 3 essays from Lord Bingham delivered as lectures on Dr. Johnson and the law. So avid fans of Johnson, as we are at Richmond Green Chambers, we absolutely love the book. And of course we're not alone. Even some 3 centuries after his birth, the fan base of our greatest litterateur, essayist and lexicographer grows apace worldwide, not with a fan amongst them, we are sure, who would not be entranced by the humanity and insight delivered by this little book. In the words of Robin de Wilde, Lord Bingham, who was regarded by his peers as the perfect paragon of a judge, gave his first address on Dr. Johnson and the law on the 16th of April 2008 in the upper room at Dr. Johnson's house in Gough Square, London, the same room where his dictionary was compiled. It's this lecture which will have abiding fascination for contemporary legal audiences. It's not generally known that Dr. Johnson was inordinately fond of law and of the company of lawyers, and if he'd had the funds he would have become a lawyer himself. Nevertheless, he was greatly assisted by the young Scottish lawyer James Boswell, who became his biographer, in the conduct of a number of his cases. Johnson's library, when catalogued in 1785 after his death, contained an astounding array of legal volumes, including 30 volumes of Acts of Parliament. The second address in the book is a sermon given in the Temple Church on the 22nd of July 2009 to commemorate the tercentenary of Johnson's birth, pointing out that this date was also the bicentenary of the birth of Lincoln. Lord Bingham draws a number of interesting parallels between the lives of these 2 great men. Physically, intellectually, philosophically, and possibly spiritually, they were almost as one. Bingham's final address on Johnson, delivered shortly before his death in September 2010, was on clubs and clubbability. Interesting word, that one. Observing that the 18th century was the age of the club. The tally of clubs and associations, in England we assume, apparently grew from 100 at the beginning of the century to about 6,500 at the end. It was an aspect of his age in which Dr. Johnson revelled. Clubs and clubbability. That gave him an opportunity to deploy his formidable argumentative powers, says Lord Bingham, and offered the company of friends which he valued so highly. So, social networkers, bear that in mind. If you're a friend either of the law, or of Dr. Johnson, or of literature, or all 3, this book, we think, will nurture and augment that friendship. If you're not, read it anyway, because it's meticulously footnoted as a book. A little volume, you can read it in one sitting, that enlightens the mind and touches the heart, and it's certainly one to treasure. So thank you very much to all concerned for producing it. Bye-bye.